Now, this is what I want to show you about Satan. That's Job. Understand, Job wasn't a good man because Job was good. Job was a good man because he was giving burnt offerings. Now, that was a day when the sons of God, who are these sons of God? Who is that? Friend, these are angels. How do I know that these are angels? First of all, there's another passage that tells me that they are angels. But listen to this. Tell me if men can do this. They came, who? The sons of God, to present themselves where? Before the Lord. Where were they presenting themselves before the Lord? This is in the third heaven. How many men do you know went up to the third heaven? None, according to the Bible. And look who came with him. Who had to do that? What was Satan called? He was called a son of God. Why was Satan called the son of God? Because, not like Christ, everyone who is a direct creation by God is technically a son of God. You and I are not sons of God because we had earthly parents. But when we are born again, God himself recreate you. He killed the one that was born of your natural parents, and then he speaks your new spirit into existence. What does that make you? That makes you and I a son of God. He spoke all the angels into existence. So what did that make them? Sons of God, and they are all male. He spoke Adam and Eve into existence. What does that make Adam and Eve? Sons of God. Why? Because God was directly responsible for them. But if you go to the Bible and look at genealogies, it says what? That Seth was the son of Adam. That Noah was the son of Methuselah. Got it? That Isaac was the son of Abraham. So and so begat this. But when it got to Adam, what did it say? Adam was the son of God. Why? Because Adam had no mother, Adam had no father. When you are born again, you have no mother, you have no father. Who does that? Who's responsible for you? God. What does that make you? That make you a son of God. All right. So Satan came with them. Why? Because he had to, friends. It was required. And guess what? In eternity, future, it's going to be required of all of us. How do I know that? Because the book tells me. Go read the 40th chapter all the way through the 48 of Ezekiel. It tells you about the millennium and the temple and how people are going to be proceeding through that temple. Then the book of Revelation tells you about the New Jerusalem and how people are going to come into it 3 times a week, 3 times a year, especially the men. It's going to be required. And it's required of the demons. Even today, this is still going on until God casts them into the lake of fire. They have no choice. You think Satan want to go up there and talk to God? No, he hated him. Satan came in among them, and the Lord said to Satan, from where do you come from? You say, oh, God didn't know. Of course he knew. So Satan answered the Lord and said, from going to and fro on the earth and from walking back and forth on it. Look at this. Then the Lord said to Satan, have you considered my servant Job, that there is none like him on the earth? He didn't say there was none like him ever. He didn't say there was be none like him after. No, at that time, there was none on the earth like Job. A blameless and upright man, one who fears God and shuns evil. So Satan answered the Lord and said, does Job fear God for nothing? Have you not made a hedge around him, around his house, on all the things, around all that he has on every side? Listen, did you hear what Satan just said? How did he know that? And why didn't he just ignore the hedge if he had free will? You have blessed the works of his hand, his possessions have increased in land. But now, stretch out who? Your hand. Whose hand? Satan's hands? No. There was a hedge. Satan couldn't stretch out his hand. And touch all that he has, and he will surely curse you to his face. Now listen to this. If Satan could do this on his own, for anything, friends, I'm just showing you an example. But if Satan wants to do anything, he has to have permission from the sovereign. Behold, all that he has is in your power. What can Satan do now? Exactly what God said. But look at this. But do not lay hand on his person. So could Satan touch Job at that time? No. Why not? Because God said no. Did Satan have free will? Yeah, he had a will, but he didn't have free will. He had a will just like you and I have a will. It is a preset, determined, pre-appointed will. That's what you have. And that's what the angels have. That's what the demons have. That's what Satan has. Let me prove it to you again. Here's a second witness. Okay? Let's go show the holy angels. Let me show you an example from a holy angel, then I'm going to show you the demons. So you can see it, friends. This isn't some mistake. This is God showing us all this stuff. No, not it. That's not it. Watch this. Now, this is God judging his people in Jerusalem, the Jews. Look at what's happening behind the scene. This is what was happening. I didn't know this. The Babylonians were attacking the Jews in Jerusalem. God sent them. Yes, go read the book. God sent the Babylonians to destroy Israel. Look at who was actually behind it. Watch this. Then he called out in my hearing with a loud voice, saying, let those who have charge over the city draw near. What? Who is this? This is God talking. The prophet is talking about God. God called for some people. People? Yeah, but they're not people. God called for some persons who he put in charge over the city. Those who have charge over the city. What city? Jerusalem, because that's where he's at. Draw near. Draw near to who? To him. Each with a what? A deadly weapon in his hand. God called some angels, and he told the angels, put weapons in your hand. So is it the Babylonians going around killing people? Wait, these are holy angels, folks. And suddenly, all of a sudden, now, not to God, God opened the spirit realm so that Ezekiel can see it and tell me and you about it. Suddenly, 6, look what he calls them. He calls them men. Were they men? No, there was no men. They were angels. They came from the direction of the upper gate. Now, what in the world is the upper gate? That's the upper gate of the temple in Jerusalem, which faces the north. The upper gate of the temple in Jerusalem faced north. Each with his battle axe. A battle axe? Yeah, a sword, man. He had a sword in his hand. One man among them. One man? No man. One angel among them was clothed with linen. He had on different clothes than the other angels. And he also had a writer's inkhorn at his side. What is that? Go back to the time that Ezekiel is writing this. How did they write back in those days? They had a little jar or whatever, and they had ink in it, and they had a writing pen. They would dip it, and that's how they would write. That's what he's talking about. They went in and stood beside the what? Bronze altar. First of all, they went into what? They went in to the temple. Because God called them to come into the temple. So they went in to talk with God. Stood beside the bronze altar. What is that? That's the article when you first go into the court, you meet up with what? The cross. That's what it was. This is where they've done all the sacrifices, by the way. Now, look at this. Now the glory of the God of Israel had gone up from the cherub. This is talking about from the Ark of the Covenant that was in the Holy of Holies. I don't have time to explain all of that, but I'll just give you a narrative as I go. There was two cherubs sitting on a bench or an ark overlaid with gold. It was shittim wood, overlaid with gold, had the mercy seat. The two cherubs was facing. God would be in a light between the two cherubs. That's what he's talking about. Where it had been. Where was it? It was also in the temple. It was in the temple. See? In the temple over the ark of the covenant. That's where it was. That's where the glory of the Lord was. To the threshold of the temple. So it moved. That's the first time that ever happened. The glory of God is leaving, is what you're seeing. And he called. Who called? God did. He called the man. He called this holy angel, clothed with linen, who had the writer's inkhorn at his side. And look, the Lord said, you see, the he, in all those verses, finally he tells you who's doing all this talking. The Lord said to this angel, go through the midst of the city. Through the midst of what city? Jerusalem. And this is how God knows his own people. Watch what he does. Put a mark. What's the mark? You say it's ink. It's not ink. God is giving you a visual to show what he's doing. The mark is the Holy Spirit. On the foreheads of the men, now this is regular men, who what? They sigh and they cry over the abominations that are done within it. Within what? Within Jerusalem. What were the crying and the sighing? What's the abomination? They were doing wickedness inside the temple of the Most High God. They were offering him the lame. They were offering him the sick. They were stealing what God told them to burn. The priests had become so corrupt that they were stealing. They were going through the religious ceremonies. They were still going and doing burnt offerings on the burnt altar, the bronze altar. They were still giving the incense, which represent prayer. They were still doing all that stuff. Yet God said all of that was abominations to him. Folks, this is serious. Now, he tells this angel, go mark these people. To the others who have the swords, go after the one after he mark out all of God's people. Go after him through the city, Jerusalem, and do what? What's going to happen to everyone who don't have the Holy Spirit? God says you kill them. See, God don't kill people, man. You haven't read the book. You got the wrong God. Kill. Do not let your eyes spare. Don't you dare have any pity. Utterly slay. Oh, and young men, maidens, and little children. Whoa, man, you serious? God is killing little children? Yes. See, why in the world would God do that? God was being merciful. I said, Kevin, that makes absolutely no sense at all. Then you don't understand the scriptures. I don't mean that in a condescending way. What I mean to tell you is, you don't understand how holy God is. You don't understand that when these little children die, it's the best thing for them. Why? Because these rascals were polluting the minds of the children. And God said, if I let them live, they're going to grow up to be just like them. And then I'm going to have to cast them into hell. As long as they're little children, I have already determined in multiple places in the book and given a sacrifice for them. I'm going to take them home with me. And they're going to be with me forever. So I don't have to watch them become this and end up casting them into hell. Friend, that's mercy. Women, but do not come near anyone who has the mark. Do the holy angels have free will? No. Why didn't they go by the people who had marks? Why didn't they just say, forget that God, I'm just going to go kill even the ones you put the mark on? God says no. Did they obey? If they obeyed, then the angels don't have free will. Let's find out. And you begin where? You begin at the temple. You slay the priests. So the angels, the day here is the angels. What did the angels do? They began with the elders who were where? Before the temple of the Most High God, God's sanctuary. And they said to them, defile the temple and fill the courts with the slain. Go out. And they, the angels, did exactly what God said. They went out and they killed in the city. I thought the Babylonians was doing that. No. God used the Babylonians, but it was God. Folks, this is real. There's no such thing as free will. There's one sovereign. There's one God. Now, let's quickly go to the demons. Let me show you this. And I can go, friend, I can do this all day. I can show you multiple places in the book where this kind of stuff happens. And that's just the way it is. People don't like this because they don't like God telling them what to do, when to do, how to do it, all this stuff. Forget that, man. God is sovereign. And you can't change it. Let me prove it to you. Look at this. These are demons, right? So we seen in the book of Job that there were some stars, okay? In the 38th chapter of Job, God explained what this star is. And the stars with an S because there's multiple of them, right? Then the fifth trumpet, this is Revelation chapter 9. Fifth angel sounded, and I saw, this is John as an eyewitness. He's now in heaven with God, watching this take place as it takes place. God took John to the future, and he let John see it happen. Friend, in God's eyes, it has already taken place. I saw a star. Star? Yeah. Satan. Jesus said the same thing. I seen Satan fall from heaven like what? Like lightning. Why like lightning? Have you read what the cherubs did in Ezekiel chapter 1? They moved like lightning. You think God made that up? No, man. God don't make things up. He fell from heaven to the earth. To him, to who? This star, who happens to be Satan, was given. It was given to him. Do he have this key? No, he don't have a key. Who have the keys? The person who gave him the key. Who had the key? Jesus said in Revelation chapter 2, or is it 3, that he has the key. He said in Matthew that he has the key of death and hell. Who have the keys then? God has the keys. But God gave a key to Satan. A key to what? There's a key to what? A bottomless pit. You see, that's real? Yes, it's real. Ezekiel gives a really good description of it. You need to go read that book. And he opened it. Whoa. Wait a minute. Time out. Satan was cast to the earth. I thought you say he had a key to a bottomless pit. Well, yeah, that's exactly what the book said. Are you telling me that the bottomless pit is here on the earth? Yes. And by the way, I didn't say that. God said that. Where is it? It's in the earth. Where? I have no idea. Somewhere in the Middle East by the river Euphrates. Open. See, how do you know it's over by the river Euphrates? Because the book tells me that. Go read the book of Ezekiel. The bottomless pit. He opened it. That means somewhere over in the Middle East is a door to this pit. And smoke arose. You mean like literal smoke? No. Watch. It rose out of the pit. Smoke arose out of the pit. Like the smoke. It was like smoke of a furnace. So, was it smoke? No. The smoke is symbolism. The smoke looked like it was out of a furnace. How does smoke out of a furnace look? It's so thick you can't see through it. So what is happening? As things come out of this bottomless pit, it is so dense, so thick, so many of them that you can't see. It blots out the sun. And the air was darkened. Why? Because of the smoke of the pit. Now, was it smoke? No, it wasn't smoke. It was like the smoke of a furnace. Then out of the smoke, out when he finally realized what he was looking at, it looked like locusts came upon the earth. Where did they come from? Out of this bottomless pit. So where are these locusts today? They're down in the earth, in this place called the bottomless pit. Kevin, that sounds like some science fiction mess, but it's not. It's real. Came upon the earth. To them, yeah, these locusts was given power. So did they have the power? No, somebody gave it to them. Who gave it to them? The person that had the key. They were given the power as the scorpion. Did they give them the power of scorpions? No, man. It was as the scorpions of the earth have power. They were commanded. Who was commanded? The locusts. What was the locusts? They were demons. These were demons who were locked in this bottomless pit. Who did that? God put them there. Why did he put them there? Go read Genesis 6. That's why he put them there. They were commanded. Wait a minute. Somebody's commanding demons? Yes. I thought they had free will. If they had free will, they wouldn't have been in the bottomless pit. Don't harm the grass or the earth or any green thing. Why? Because they're not locusts. They were like locusts. But only those men, they're receiving a command. Only hurt those men who do not have what? The seal. What is the seal? It's the same as the mark of ink. And where is it? It's in the same place that we just read in Ezekiel, on their foreheads. In their foreheads? Yes. The foreheads represents the front of you. So who is fronting you? The Spirit of God. He's the seal. Ephesians chapter 1 tells you he's the seal. The book of Corinthians tells you he's the seal. So what is this seal? The Spirit of God. And they were not given authority. There you have it, friend. They cannot do something. What? Kill them. Same thing he told Satan. You can only do this, but you can't do that. So do the angels have free will? No. Do the demons have free will? No. Do Satan have free will? No. Do you and I have free will? No. All of God's creation have a preset, limited will, governed by the laws of God. He and he alone determines, pre-appoints, and set the boundaries and limitations of all his creation. No one has free will. Only the sovereign Lord God, the Holy One of Israel, the eternal King, have free will. All right. When we come back next time, friend, we're going to dive just a little deeper into this free will. And we're probably going to do 2 more sessions, and we're going to wrap this thing up. And by the time we finish, if you're still sitting there saying you got free will, then there's nothing the scriptures can tell you to change your mind. And you're going to find out one day when you cross over and die that you don't. And unfortunately, when you get there, you're going to meet up with the one and only one who do have free will, the Holy One, the Most High God. And he's going to prove to you in that day when he casts you into hell because you have rejected his Son and you sinned against the Holy One, then you're going to realize I never had free will. Friend, cry out to God. Cry out to the Holy One. You need this ink. You need an offering for sin. You need Jesus Christ. Cry out to God. I pray that he would make you whole. Okay, friends, till next time, take care.